I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about two very, very bright stars in the National Basketball Association right now, and get your opinion on this. Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell. Now, these guys are playing some amazing basketball and doing some pretty phenomenal things. And I just wanted to put it out there to you guys. If you were taking a guy in the draft or a trade for your team, which one of these guys would you take? Which side are you going on? Who are you going with? Who are you going to build around?
Plex, I'll let you go first, Mister
Man,
Basketball.
this right here is a tough one for me because just last week we was having this great conversation about Donovan Mitchell and I call him a tarantula, running up and down the basketball court. That's what he kind of reminds me of in his playing style. But I've said this, when Donovan Mitchell was coming out of college, Rick Pitino told all the scouts and the owners that he was arguably the best point guard that he had ever coached, and nobody really paid attention to him. So you look at Donovan Mitchell and you look at Devin Booker, and when they told me that Devin Booker had went to Kentucky, I didn't even know that he went to Kentucky because he was never spoke about because he played with Karl Anthony Towns, Willie Cauley-Stein, and the Harrison twins, Andrew and Aaron. So Booker was overlooked. Nobody was talking about Devin Booker. So, I didn't even know he
Hey,
was at
Calipari
Kentucky until
he did say when he was coming out though he's gonna be the best player in this draft. I remember him. He did say that.
yes, but I didn't even know that he went to Kentucky because he played with such a great other four that he was never really a star or was mentioned. But if I'm a GM knowing what I know now, and I love me some Donovan Mitchell, man. Y'all know how I feel about him. I think he has the whole entire skill set of becoming the next great star and point guard in the NBA. But
Uh-oh.
if you're talking about building a franchise and somebody being a cornerstone of your organization, I'm going to have to go with Devin Booker
Mm.
because the more and more I watch this young man play, he's a more athletic Reggie Miller. He's going to run you off of screens, and you're going to have to know where he is at on the basketball court at all times. And then when he pulls that jump shot, man, it's so pure. Not pure,
It's
it's
per.
pure. It's pure. And, man, I watched him last night, and, when he pulls up 15 to 18 footers, man, the ball doesn't even touch the rim. And you can put him on any basketball team in the NBA. And I honestly believe that he will have the same impact on any basketball team that you put him on because he just has a universal basketball game that you can plug him into anywhere. And with the addition of Chris Paul coming in, which TJ thinks that Chris Paul is still one of the top 5 point guards in basketball, I disagree.
Oh.
But Devin Booker is shining more, and I heard Charles Barkley say this the other night. There's a great chance that every night that Devin Booker steps on the basketball court that he's the best player on the floor, and I think that's high remarks, especially coming from Charles Barkley, and watching this young man grow and become a phenom in this league and being an elite player. That almost every night that he steps on the basketball court, that he's the best player on the floor. And with that all being said, knowing what we know now, not coming out of college, if you're going to build an organization and build an NBA team, you can plug Devin Booker in anywhere, and he will still put up 26 points a night.
Well,
TJ.
before Plex gave us his answer, I was actually leaning Devin Booker myself, but I kind of dove into it a little more when he said he's a more athletic Reggie Miller. That he is. Doesn't shoot the ball as well as Reggie Miller. Devin Booker's a 35% career three-point shooter. I'm gonna go with Donovan Mitchell, and Plex really made me look into it as he was talking, and I look at it from this perspective. Donovan Mitchell is the man on his team. they're both 24 years old. The Phoenix Suns and Devin Booker haven't had success in the playoffs. Last year in the bubble, they did well. They haven't had any success. Chris Paul comes in, and all of a sudden they're a good team. Donovan Mitchell's Utah Jazz team has had success.
There you go.
Big success. And he's the lead dog. He's the engine. He's the reason they go. And so for me, Devin Booker can play. But if you're asking me who would I want to start my franchise with, and these are the only two guys I can pick and choose from, I'm going to go with Donovan Mitchell because he's proven to me already he can be that guy on the team and take his team to the playoffs. Have they reached the pinnacle? Absolutely not. But Devin Booker has yet to even get in the playoffs and do damage. And so the bubble last year, the Suns did very, very well. But I'm talking before that. Yeah, he put up points and he can shoot the ball. But I want Donovan Mitchell because I know he's going to lead my team. I don't know if Devin Booker can do that.
You know, the reason why I like this debate is because the Suns are in second place overall in the Western Conference, and the Jazz are first. You actually stole a little bit of my thunder on this one, TJ. I really look at Donovan Mitchell as the catalyst of why the Utah Jazz are playing so well, why they were dangerous in the playoffs last year. I can recall when he had his coming out party in the playoffs, and it was like, man, who is this guy? I'm going with Donovan Mitchell as well. I just think that when I look at, as you call him, the tarantula and how he handles himself on the court, his leadership qualities, as he goes, the Utah Jazz go. When I look at these two teams and I say, which team is closer to competing for a championship, I look at Utah and I think they are a legit competitor to try to get to the finals this season. When I look at the Phoenix Suns, I still think that there's holes. I think that when you think about the catalyst, yes, Booker is the catalyst for that team, but it's debatable and nothing more telling than the All-Star selections, right? Like you take CP3 over Donovan. Over Booker. So Devin. So to me, he wasn't even considered to be the best player on his team as it was voted by the fans and the NBA. So I just look at Donovan Mitchell and I say he's a talent that you cannot deny, is the catalyst and is the leader and is the reason why they are leading the Western Conference. And I know a lot of people love to disrespect Utah and say they'll fall on their face as they get into the playoffs, and there are a lot of different things that could happen. But when I look at the other players on that team, and mainly Gobert and that relationship, other than the COVID incident, they've been this 1-2 punch that is very, very respectable. And the only reason why it's a respectable duo and combination as a big and as a front court guy, or back court guy, is because of Donovan. And I look at his ability to create, his ability to score, his ability to attack the rim. Their numbers statistically are very comparable. Their numbers in minutes played, their numbers in scoring, their numbers in assists, their numbers in steals, all very comparable. So when the things are as close as the stats, the measurements on that end are so close that you have to go into looking at other aspects of their game, I would say who is the facilitator, who is the dictator, who is the game changer when you're looking at players. And that can be different players. On Phoenix, there are different players. Like I think CP3 is the facilitator, right? I look at certain components of the Phoenix Suns, and I think that all three of those categories do not rest on Booker's shoulders. But in Utah, the facilitator, the game changer, the dictator, all of those titles belong to my guy Donovan Mitchell. And so to me, I would start with Donovan if it were up to me.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I understand, your point. But you went to speaking about the team of the Utah Jazz and the Phoenix Suns, and TJ spoke about the Phoenix Suns haven't had any success. DeAndre Ayton is still young. Obviously, Devin Booker, he's only 24. But when you talk about the contrast of both teams, the Utah Jazz basically rely on a three-point shot. And there are going to be nights when that three-point shot is not going down. And when you look at teams who are more fit to make a run in the playoffs and can adapt to a different style of play with the Phoenix Suns, the Utah Jazz really don't have a big man that can play down in the post. And then you add Chris Paul with Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton. Granted, Donovan Mitchell can take over a basketball game whenever he wants to. But that's just like you said, he's the catalyst. He is the big dog. But what happens when the big dog's three-point shot is not going down? He has nobody else to lean on to. So I think that's going to be the Achilles heel of the Utah Jazz in the playoffs. Can they continue to make the three-point shot? Because if they can't shoot it with the consistency that they're shooting it with now, it's going to be tough for them in the playoffs to make a run.
Well, Utah has consistently shot the ball well. Now, Utah Jazz, they're a good basketball team.
But TJ, we know.
But
the shot is not always going down like the way it is now.
But do they? I don't believe they have a